Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope you are all doing well. So, on today's episode, guys, we're going to be covering a bit of a hot topic, and that is more and more women are becoming single. Now, could this be the result of modern day dating standards? Could it be the result of perhaps, dating applications, or just the way the dating landscape is going these days? No, of course not, guys. It is the men's fault. So, check out this article we have here, written literally years ago, but honestly has just gotten worse and worse as time has gone on. It is titled, "It's Not Your Imagination, Single Women. There literally aren't enough men out there." We talked to author John Berger about the sort of shortage of educated men, where women should go if they really want to land a husband, and why boys aren't going to college in the first place. Now, I can answer the last part right off the bat, which is that colleges, universities are indoctrination camps that do not like men. But let's move that aside for the moment, guys, and talk about this. So the article says there's a shortage of men, but then it goes on to elaborate by saying there is a shortage of educated men. Okay, now what does this really mean, guys? Women, as they have gone out here and been able to study and work how it is that they like, they can get their degrees, they can become CEOs if they want. Women do not want to date uneducated men, quote unquote uneducated, if they themselves have degrees, okay? So rather than saying, hey, listen, maybe my standards are unreasonable, maybe it's not a bad thing that a guy is a plumber or a bricklayer. I love how these women will literally dismiss men who are not quote unquote educated, who basically haven't been indoctrinated by the modern schooling system, and they will dismiss hardworking good men because they don't have a piece of paper, which in a lot of instances is relatively useless. Okay, there are a lot of dudes out here who are plumbers, who are bricklayers, who are carpenters, electricians, tradesmen of all different sorts. These guys can earn a decent living, okay, but it's not glamorous enough, guys. You're not with an educated man. So somehow we go from, listen, the women are single, right? The women are single, they're out here struggling dating, but don't worry, women, it's not your fault, or it has nothing to do with your standards. There apparently aren't enough men out there. Now, guys, before I even continue with the article here, anyone who, can put a cohesive thought together understands that this article is bullcrap, and the reason why is because most men are incredibly lonely. Most men would love to have a relationship, would love to have something serious. It's not that there are no men out here. There are plenty of men who, despite all this crap going on with divorce courts and about how men are treated unfairly in family courts and all this kind of crap, and about how men can be falsely accused and there's all sorts of ramifications. Despite all of these things, there are lots of men who are interested in a relationship. So do not come to me with this idea that there aren't enough men. Have you ever heard something so ludicrous? Now let's jump into this article here. So it goes on to say, we all have that friend, the beautiful, intelligent, driven woman who, like Katherine Heigl in every rom-com, I don't know what the hell that is, can't find a decent date. Every guy she goes out with is an a-hole. She consistently dates below, quote-unquote, her league, and she's on the verge of giving up on a committed relationship altogether. So let's break this down, guys. Let's talk about this part right here, because what I'm envisioning, now I could be totally wrong here, but what I'm envisioning with this Katherine Heigl woman here is, a girl who's perhaps in her early 30s, she's driven, she's got her life together, and I feel like I have to mention this on every episode where we come across these things. Guys do not care about your career or how established you are, okay? A lawyer, a man who is a lawyer, who makes a good living in, I don't know, New York, one of the most expensive cities, at least to my knowledge. I'm not an American myself, but I've heard terrible things about the New York rent prices and so on and so forth, okay? A guy who's a lawyer in New York would date an attractive McDonald's worker. Why? Because men do not care about a woman providing for him. It doesn't matter if she earns zero money. It doesn't matter if she earns a whole lot of money. Men don't typically care about how driven you are, about how ambitious you are, about how much money you make. These things do not make you attractive to most men. Now, there's going to be a couple of men in the comments that say, oh, Taylor, I love a boss babe. Okay, cool, good for you. But that's not most men. Most men value things like, you know, is she pleasant to be around? Is she kind? Is she empathetic? Is she going to make my life a headache? These sorts of things, you know, can she cook? Lord forbid you bring up a woman's culinary skills in the year 2022, guys. Okay, that's somehow, you know, just the biggest sin of all time these days. But these are the things that, you know, men find quite attractive, generally speaking. Nobody cares that you are driven. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. In the same way, you know, there are things about men that women don't care for at all. Okay, and guys, one of those I would say honestly is morals, but that's a discussion we can have later on. So we've got a woman here who is on the verge of giving up on a committed relationship because she just keeps dating a-holes. Now, guys, if a girl keeps dating a-holes, I have to put accountability on the woman for this. I'm not defending guys who are a-holes. In fact, in a lot of these situations, I don't think the men are just a-holes. I think the men just don't want to give the women commitment, so they rationalize them as a-holes. But let's just assume this woman is out here dating a-holes. You could always stop, you know? Like, I know that's a wild idea, but you could always just not date the a-holes. You could date the men who are interested in you. But I suppose that's off the cards, isn't it? So let's keep going. Not long after he turned 30, the writer, John Berger, realized he and his wife knew a lot of women like that. The couple didn't have a lot of single male friends left, but the many single women they knew all seemed to be buyers stuck in a seller's market. This is what happens, by the way, when girls go into their 30s, is they start to notice that things become more difficult. They can no longer get the guys that they were capable of getting in their 20s. Okay, this is why you'll hear women who enter these ages, they'll start to complain about how age gaps are unethical, about how men need to stop watching spicy content online, which, you know, I agree with the latter there. Okay, but the reason why these things get brought up here is not because they care about men or because they're worried about power imbalances. It's because they are annoyed that they no longer benefit from the situation because they are older, and, you know, there's new 18 to 25-year-olds that are coming in every year. Let's continue. One of those friends, Berger told me, had been dating a guy for a couple of years. It certainly seemed like they were all well on their way to getting married. She was in her late 30s. He was in his mid 40s. She really wants to have kids, get married, the whole thing, and she's been amazing in every way. It amazes me, guys. It absolutely amazes me how you'll have a woman who gets to her late 30s and now she really wants to have kids. Now she really wants to get married. Now she wants the whole thing, and she's quote unquote amazing. This is a very concerning situation. If a girl gets to her late 30s, first of all, having kids, a little bit questionable. Second of all, why did it take her so long to get to this point? And don't give me the crap like, oh, it's the men's fault. Like, you know, and it's just the men running around. There's a lack of good men. There's no good men. Okay, there are plenty of good men out there. If you're a girl and you're in your late 30s and you've wanted to get married this whole time, I'm going to assume that this woman has wanted to get married the whole time. It says here, you know, she really wants to have kids, get married, the whole thing. I'm going to assume that she probably didn't want these things until it was too late, realistically. Okay, she probably thought, yeah, look, I want kids, but then, you know, the time starts creeping up on her and she wants it more and more because she realizes that if she gets to her 40s, kids are just off the table, or getting married is just going to be increasingly harder. Okay, this is why these girls, they start to panic when they hit 30 years of age and they start to want these things. It's not because they found their soulmate and because they matured and they really care about the man that they're with. Okay, that's just a complete load of nonsense. But let's continue with the article here. One day at lunch, Berger casually asked her about her boyfriend. Her whole expression changed, Berger recalled. They had just broken up, they'd been dating for over 2 years, and he said he just wasn't ready to settle down. We'll come back to this. This got Berger, a former economics writer for Fortune and Money, thinking, how could a man of that age be so cavalier about casting aside such an amazing woman? Oh my. And why do we all have similar stories of incredible female friends trapped for years in dating hell. Why are there so many great single women? Where are all of the great single men? That question, guys, it brings a smile to my cold, dead, vampiric animated face, okay? Where are all of the single great men? I mentioned in a recent episode, guys, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and he suggested for a moment that guys in their 30s and 40s weren't players, and I kind of laughed at him. I'm like, no way, man. Guys who are in their 30s and 40s, men who have been around the block a couple times, when they run into these girls, a lot of them are not interested in going through another divorce. They're not interested in being lied and gaslit. They're not interested in having their boundaries walked all over. So the girls who get to this age and they're complaining about, look, I'm single, it's the men's fault that I'm single, where are all the good men? You had your shot with the good men and you blew it. The good men are divorced, or oftentimes, quite not interested in dating girls who are in their late 30s. Now, there is a very clear way that women can avoid this, and it comes back to this sentence right here that I said I'd return to. They'd been dating for over 2 years, and he said he, quote unquote, just wasn't ready to settle down. If you're a woman and you are looking for a long-term relationship, do not date the guys who say, yeah, look, maybe in the future. Okay? Or the guys who say, I'm not interested in a relationship. Go for the guys who are interested in a relationship. I know it seems like rocket science. It seems incredibly difficult. And the guy that you're probably most attracted to won't say any of the things that I just listed. But guess what? That is life. And the guy who you're highly attracted to, the likelihood of him, being willing to commit to you for a long period of time, or have marriage or have kids, especially when you're in your late 30s and now you're looking for these things, I mean, realistically, good luck to you. But you can avoid it. Just look for the guys who are ready to settle down. Don't date the dudes who are not ready to settle down. It's all very simple. Let's continue here. Using his background in economics and statistics, Berger sought out an answer. The result in his recent book, Datanomics, How Dating Became a Lopsided Number Game. So this guy makes the proposition here that there literally are not enough men, which what he's really talking about is there's not enough men who meet women's standards. That's what it really comes down to. A clever read with a sobering conclusion. There simply aren't enough college-educated men to go around. You know what's funny, guys? When I think of the word college-educated men, I don't necessarily think of a professional these days. I really don't. There are some degrees which, of course, are required to enter into the field, whether that be a doctor, a lawyer, okay, these sorts of things. But when I'm hearing college-educated men, I'm thinking of male womanists. That's what I think of, because university campuses are not, for the most part, about actually teaching their students. Okay, you guys try going to a business class, try going to any social sciences class. They don't actually teach you what they're supposed to teach you guys. They really don't. Like, look up the experiences of people who go to these classrooms, particularly young men who are ambitious and actually want to make something of themselves. They will tell you that these campuses, these school grounds, are not for actually learning. Okay, and that the reason why I bring this up, guys, is because college-educated men, colleges, for the most part, are really quite worthless these days. They really are. And just because a man does not go to college doesn't make him unsuccessful because he doesn't have a piece of paper from one of these things. I find that astounding, guys, that girls are refusing to date dudes who are not college educated. Like, I know guys who, like I said, they work in hard labor fields and they earn a pretty penny, guys. They definitely earn more of these guys who qualify with some useless degree, who are talking about how, all this nonsense that they've been fed the entire time. Like, there are successful dudes out there who work these fields, but women will look at them and go, oh, he's not college educated. Okay, fine. And I've said this before, guys, but girls really have no idea what money looks like at all. Like, they really don't. You can have a guy who works as a plumber, owns his own company, okay, has a bunch of employees, and girls will think, oh, he's a plumber, he must be worthless, right? He must not be husband material. Meanwhile, that guy's laughing all the way to the bank because he's actually put in the hard work compared to some dude who went through the college system who's wearing one of those jackets that teachers wear that look absolutely awful with dyed blue hair. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. For every four college-educated women in my generation, there are three college-educated men. The result, what Berger calls a musical chairs of the heart. As the men pair off with partners, unpartnered straight women are left with fewer and fewer options, and millions of them are eventually left with no options at all. I sat down for a long talk with Berger and found out why boys aren't graduating from college, why your best friend is single, and why more women should consider moving to Silicon Valley. So the solution is, guys, look at this. The solution is not that women have unrealistic standards. The solution is perhaps not to judge people based on the degrees that they may or may not have, which are essentially useless. The solution is that women must go travel, to different parts of the world, go looking for the dudes who are richer. That's the conclusion, right? So the conclusion here is basically embrace hypergamy. Men are just not worth dating if they don't have a college degree. This is absolutely fantastic stuff. Now, guys, before we continue into the next part of today's show, which is a brief little Reddit thread that I wanted to show you guys, let's look at this right here, okay? Why boys aren't graduating from college. I'll tell you why men are not graduating from college, okay? More so actually why men are not going to college, or why men are dropping out of college. Men are not interested in going to places where they are disrespected and treated less than. Colleges, university campuses, guys, these places for men are essentially like you're going to the hub where everybody considers you to have some sort of privilege and that you're somehow exercising oppression over the other people there. Like, guys, literally, these places view it as though you as a man are inherently oppressive. I would encourage you guys to go sit in on university classes, go sit in on college classes, and take a listen to some of the crap they say. They're not teaching kids what's actually useful. They're not teaching, what they're supposed to be teaching, guys. They're essentially indoctrinating people, okay? They're disrespecting men. And of course, men don't want to go there. Why would men want to go somewhere where they're treated terribly? It's, absolutely shocking, isn't it? But guys, let's jump into this brief little Reddit story here. And I found this absolutely hilarious, right? I can find like so many of these every single day. You guys would be genuinely shocked. Like, I do not run out of content for making these episodes. I don't know if you guys know this, but when I look, or, my editor will go look for Reddit stories or TikToks or articles or anything like that, I don't run out of these things, guys. Like, I really don't. So check this out. This is a woman who posted 6 days ago to dating advice, and I go through these subreddits and I just save them to my account now. So actually, this stuff just comes up literally every hour. It's insane. Dating culture, says this woman here. I'm not sure if it's just a dating app problem, but I am tired how, as a 27-year-old female, it's hard to find anyone that wants something serious. Most guys I talk to automatically want to have bedroom fun without putting in any effort. They tend to put in effort for a couple of weeks to a month, and when they don't get what they want, they end up ghosting. It's so tiring to keep opening myself up and being vulnerable to someone, only to feel like my only value is my body. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Now, guys, I don't know this woman personally, okay? I don't know her exact values or whatever the case may be. But here's the idea. Number one, when you are dating men, secure the commitment up front. Have a conversation about what you want. If he is not direct, or if he does not say that he does not want to commit to you, move on if you are looking for a relationship. Number two, if you're sick of people only valuing your body, don't let them only value you for your body. This is like girls complaining about being objectified, okay? But then they'll go to Instagram and post half, lewd photos of themselves all over the internet. It's like, I'm sorry, you don't want to be objectified, but at the same time, you want to objectify yourself. You see what I'm getting at here, guys? If you don't want to be treated as though your only commodity is your body, maybe don't use your body as your only commodity. And I would also like to say this, guys, okay? When girls are entering the dating market, men actually care about more things than your body. Yes, a guy cares about how pretty you are. Okay, he cares about how you look. Obviously, men are pretty clear when it comes to this. But having a good body or being attractive is not something that'll keep a guy around. And this is something that a lot of women find out too late. Okay, just because you might look good, even this woman who's going into her 30s, like I said, I don't know her personally, even if you're a good looking 27-year-old woman, that doesn't mean that men want to commit to you. Because in order to get commitment from a guy who has self-respect, a guy who typically women want, you can't just bring your looks to the table and then expect men to go, you know what, I'm going to commit to this woman for the rest of my life because she looks good. Everybody knows, any guy who's been dating for any length of time at all knows that you can have a very attractive woman who's incredibly crazy and who will try to ruin your life, okay? But guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, guys, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments to some of the things that we have covered here today. Bit of an interesting topic, guys. How that article, by the way, was written in the year 2015. And in my opinion, it's really only going to get worse. Some of the forecasted statistics on single women are absolutely insane, guys. Now is a good time to invest in that boxed wine and the cat food moving forward, guys. I'm telling you, it'll be the next Bitcoin. But guys, we're going to be leaving it there. Make sure to leave your thoughts and your comments. And as always, guys, make sure that you take care of yourselves. And I will be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace. Yo guys, Past Taylor here. Just want to say thank you if you made it to the end of today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our other content creators over here at Fiend Gang, Hadan from Peace of Mind, and Detective Warg. Their channels will be linked in the video description. They've been putting out consistent content for you guys to enjoy, so make sure that you go and show them some love. Their channels will be linked below. Also, guys, if you are interested in supporting the channel, make sure that you come and join us for free over on Locals or Patreon. On Locals and Patreon, you guys get access to archived video content that is no longer available here on YouTube. And supporters also get access to exclusive videos where we cover different kinds of topics that you won't see me talk about here on YouTube because, to be honest, YouTube just really doesn't like it. There's video topics such as how broken families are created and how men can avoid it, bad traits that men can have, the reason why women chase married men, etc. So if you're interested in supporting, make sure that you go and check that out. And lastly, guys, if you're interested in getting a character made like mine, be sure to hit up our artist at the Gecko Ninja. He is linked in the video description as well. He's been doing art for Fiend Gang for quite some time, so if his stuff interests you guys, make sure that you hit him up for a commission. As always, he will be linked below the video. But with all that being said, guys, make sure that you take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next one, for real this time. Peace.